So the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series is a iRacing series that will start in the fall, and this is everything you need to know about it for this season for the NASCAR FedEx Cup Series. So the NASCAR FedEx Cup Series, as most of you guys know, I used to run it on NASCAR E5, but we're deciding to switch to iRacing, which is obviously a much better thing because it's an actual simulation. So the FedEx Cup Series is going into its first season in iRacing. I'm going to tell you guys most of the stuff that you need to know. I might make a part 2 of this when we get more details, but most of the stuff you need to know for the NASCAR FedEx Cup Series. So Generation 7 NASCAR Next Gen cars will be used, so that's basically the base thing. That's what expected. All Cup Series races are going to be about the 50% length of the real races. We're actually going to test it out and actually see like if the races are too long. Obviously not going to be too short, but if they take like 2.5 hours at the most or something like that, then we're definitely going to have to shorten the races. But if they're fine, if they're like only like an hour, maybe tops hour and 15 minutes, then I think we're fine with the 50% length detail. So there's 25 charters. We actually have 23 out of the 25 spots full for the season. So just 2 spots remain. Max of 4 cars per team. Unlike 5 cars were in old FCS, but now there's only 4 cars. I think we have about 11 or 12 teams. So a lot of teams are only running like 1 cars. Some teams are running 3, and then I think they've got 1 or 2 teams running a full 4 cars. So miss 6 or more races, you're gonna be ineligible for the playoffs. Doesn't matter if like you can't have the track or something like that. If you miss 6 or more races, then you're gonna be ineligible for the playoffs, even if you win or something like that. So here's how the penalty stuff will work. So this is mostly for fan stuff, some for driver stuff, but you're still going to want to listen to this if you're either. So first penalty is going to be -5 points. Second penalty is going to be -10 points. And if you do a third thing, it's going to be 1 or more race suspension, which all the officials will decide all the penalties. So that's how it'll go, and I'll get the final word on them. No stages in the race, so we won't have stage cautions at all. But I'm going to do a thing where directly in the middle of the race, we're going to award points to the top 10. We're going to test that out for the first few races, see how that goes. That can provide a really exciting race in the middle of the race at Daytona, and then see how the field can sort it all out. It's going to be pretty cool. So that's how it is. The points format will be released really soon, so I'll have another video on that one. So it's going to be just like real NASCAR points with the playoffs and stuff. So 8 drivers will make the playoffs. So 8 out of the 25 drivers, not a whole lot of them. It's less of a ratio, I think, than real NASCAR. So 8 drivers only make the playoffs. We debated on 8 or 10, but most of the officials wanted 8 drivers. So broadcasts are going to look pretty professional and also have scoring, just like this, the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, which I obviously don't own. All this footage goes to NASCAR, so broadcasts will look as professional as possible, so hopefully you guys will enjoy them, and they're also going to have timing and scoring as well. We'll probably be broadcasting this, but qualifying will be right before every single NASCAR FedEx Cup Series race. Also, another thing is, after a crash, we're debating on 1 or 2 resets. So we're definitely going to have resets just to start us off, but maybe as the season goes on, we'll change that. We got a lot of testing to do with, like, even before the season, and we'll test some stuff with the actual races. We don't have a Clash or All-Star race to test with that, unfortunately, so we'll just have to go straight into the Daytona 500 and test that, and also some practice stuff before the Daytona 500. So Speed Weeks is going to be really cool. We're going to have preseason Thunder before then. We're gonna have NASCAR Cup Series practice for the FedEx Cup Series. Then also we're gonna have Xfinity, Trucks, and ARCA racing at Daytona. We're not gonna have a full season for them yet. We'll wait on that for a while. I don't think I'm gonna really ever have a full season for them. That's just too much to run. Maybe we'll have like an Xfinity full season and a Cups full season, but it's just too much to run 4 full seasons for all the series. But Truck, ARCA, and Xfinity races at Daytona. So that's how it'll go. Cup drivers can run all of them, but I want to find a lot of exclusive drivers from that as well that don't run Cup. So that's what it's going to be, just based off of practice sessions for them. Probably everything that's during Speed Weeks is going to be broadcasted. So some practice sessions will be broadcasted, but other ones will not be broadcast. The Daytona 500 practice and like the Coke 100 practice, the Southern 500, they're all going to be broadcasted, like all the important races. But like a random practice session in Kansas, we're probably not going to broadcast because it doesn't really make any sense. So the qualifying is going to be right before the race, but practice is probably going to be maybe a day before or maybe the day of the race, just like a few hours before. So that's how it's going to go. Obviously, we're going to test the race distance and stuff like that. So the playoffs are going to have 3 rounds, the round of 8, the round of 6, and then your championship 4. So 2 drivers will be eliminated for every single round. So yeah, it's going to go 8, 6 drivers, and then the round of 6 is going to be your championship round, where if you win a race and you're in the playoffs, you automatically advance to the championship 4, which is the championship race at Chicagoland. So obviously you won't be able to do a championship at Chicagoland in real life because it's going to be like 20 degrees in Chicago in November, but that's the beauty of iRacing, doing things we're not able to do in the real life NASCAR. So some other important things to go over here is you have to be in the top 20 in points to win and lock yourself into the playoffs. So if it's like the Daytona regular season finale and some driver that's missed 4 races or something like that and is 23rd in points somehow wins the Daytona regular season finale, they're not going to be locked into the playoffs unless they're able to make themselves go into the top 20 in regular season points. If they do that and they have that win in the bank already, then they'll immediately get locked into the playoffs once they finally do that. But if you're below 20th in the regular season standings, then you won't be able to make it into the playoffs until you get up in the top 20 and obviously then win a race. So that's how you get locked in. Obviously, if you're like 13th in points and you win a race, you're going to be locked in. But anything below 20th in points, so 20th in points is the max. So if you're 20th in points, you can still win a race and locked in. But if you're 21st, you're not able to do it. For some driver information here, we're still debating if we're going to have custom setups, like open setups, or just like fixed setups. We're going to see what happens to that. I got to do like a vote with all the officials and stuff like that. We're also going to test a lot of stuff out in preseason testing. So I'll be streaming a lot of preseason testing, not all of it, obviously. Probably going to do some individual tests with drivers if they can't make the other tests. So that's how it's going to go. Preseason Thunder is going to be the main test. That'll be probably the final test before the Daytona 500. So no Clash, no All-Star Race, obviously, so straight into Daytona. Speed Weeks is going to be insane. Well, I think I already released the schedule, but I'll do it again. Here's the schedule for Speed Weeks. It's going to be fun for the NASCAR FedEx Cup Series and FedEx Xfinity Series, FedEx Truck Series, and FedEx ARCA Series. So we got a lot of series running for Daytona. 4 series. It's going to be an amazing Speed Weeks. Hopefully everybody enjoys it. Hopefully I have a lot of drivers. I'm expecting maybe 45, 50 drivers at the max for all the Speed Week races once we finally get them all in. We already have 23 full-time drivers signed for the FedEx Cup Series. And then we also got like a few other drivers that want to race in Xfinity trucks or just ARCA, they don't want to do full Cup season or anything like that. So we don't have any opener like part-time entries. We'll expect that in later seasons. That'll probably happen maybe next season in season number 2. We'll check out how that all works. So yeah, that'll just basically wrap it up. I'm really excited for the season. I know a lot of other people are. Hopefully we can build a great community for this, and I think it's going to go pretty well if we can get a lot of clean racing, in which we have a lot of clean drivers, and I think it's going to go really well for the NASCAR FedEx Cup Series. So yeah, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.